This is Mico, the entrepreneur, and I am here with Kenny. So, look, we're going to talk about different things. Like, we're going to bring up his website. He has his own business. This man is very busy. So, I don't want to waste a lot of his time because, look, I had to be thrown on the schedule. So, let's go ahead and get this started. So, you know what? I met Kenny at the Women's Expo maybe like a month ago. And the first I saw him, but I ain't really say much to him until later on when I was like right beside him. I'm like, I love your hair. Like, I'm paraphrasing because I don't know if I say I love your hair or that's a nice look on you, something like that. I know it was probably similar to both. And I'm thinking like, man, he looking nice in that suit. But some people, they get embarrassed or whatever. I was like, okay. But yeah, I loved how his hair was, the cut. If he uses a sponge or a hair sponge for his hair. But I started talking to him later. And I had your sister on, Nikki, for her interview. And that went well. So I didn't know you two were brother and sister. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and introduce Kenny and let him talk. All right, Kenny.
All right, Mico, thank you so much for the opportunity. First of all, it's definitely a pleasure to be here speaking with you and your audience, and I'm really excited for this interview and what people can learn from my experiences. So I am now I'm at 41 years old. I've been in the industry for 23 years. That's a great industry. I've been doing logistics pretty much my whole life, my whole adulthood, driving trucks, regional manager for big companies. And recently, the last 4 years, I started my own business. And that business was logistics and freight brokering. And we just recently converted over to logistics consulting. So we can still have that aspect of the logistics and the freight industry to help our companies. And other than that, I have experience as a personal trainer. I enjoy that. That's really my big hobby is to lift weights and to keep buying shirts because I can't fit them. That's the thing. But yeah, so the logistics is really my thing. I'm aspiring as a public speaker, and like Mico said, we met at the Women's Expo. I was hosting there. I just love to speak and share my enthusiasm with everybody. So that's me in a nutshell.
So before we go on to the website, you mentioned you've been in freight for 23 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why I had to reference the age.
Wow. Yeah. So I assume you have a CDLA license. Correct. What are your endorsements?
So I have a tanker endorsement and I have my hazmat endorsement, but I got rid of that one. Well, I didn't get rid of it. They got rid of it for me because I didn't renew on my hazmat. I didn't want to drive fuel. So I started my career in the Army as a truck driver.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so started in the Army right out of high school. I think 2-3 months out of high school, jumped right into it and drove tank ammo and tank fuel. So that's where the Class A comes from. We got in the military. They gave it to us after we converted over. And then when I got out, I didn't want to do the hazmat or the fuel anymore. So I kept my tanker endorsement. And I drove trucks for the last, I can say 23 years because I drove a truck a couple weeks ago. So it's my passion. I love it.
So are these like 53-foot and doubles or just of the trucks?
Yeah, so 53-foot. The doubles, you can only do 53-foot doubles if you're on the turnpike. So you can't bring it into the city, in any city in Florida. But you can do the pups, which are the 28-footers. You can do doubles on those.
Wow. See, I know my stuff. I had a CDLB.
Yeah, you did.
So you're probably like, what?
You know my doubles? Okay.
All right. Just a few more questions before we get to the website. So with logistics, is it, would you say, is it with your company, what's the percentage of dispatching? So you dispatch orders or how do you get your clients?
Yeah, so dispatching is a form of the logistics, but usually a dispatcher works directly with a trucking company or an owner operator. What we do is we manage the freight from the beginning to the end. So by finding our customers, we find people who have a need for trucks. They maybe manufacture product or they distribute product. So what we do is we get that company, find out what they need, and find the right mode of transportation. Then we contact the carriers and we connect those two together, and then we manage that from all the way from end to end visibility, so we can track them and see where they're at, make sure that they're on time, any updates, making sure they're resting how they're supposed to. So it's pretty much like I said, from end to end.
So if I was a owner and I wanted to work with you, do you work with owners such as me, or do you have to be a Fortune 100 or 500 company?
Oh no, we work with small businesses all the way up to the Fortune 500, 100s. It really doesn't matter the size because everybody has that transportation need. It's just sometimes with the smaller companies, they don't need as much. So those are the ones we really like to go after, because a lot of small business owners don't understand the impact that the transportation has on their costs. So we definitely want to make sure that we know how to negotiate the rates for them and make sure that they're being taken care of.
And with the freight, what do you transport, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Is it live cattle? Or is it like cans of soup?
Yeah, no live cattle, no live people, nothing like that. We like to do live people. Well, definitely not dead people, but yeah. Food and beverage is our main thing. We love food and beverage because there's so many different aspects. And food is something that we need, and it helps supply communities. But we also do furniture, especially being in Central Florida. You have a lot of resorts and hotels, so we have managed that part too. But when it comes to freight, we don't shy away from any type of freight.
Okay. So, me, a one owner, what documents would I need to be able to work with you as a client?
Okay, that's a good question. So first, we'd like to know what type of product you're shipping, how often you're shipping it. And once we find out what product you're shipping, how often, then we get your budget. Once we figure out what your budget is, then we can start planning your transportation. So really, in the beginning, it's more of a discovery. Let's see what you're trying to ship to, what you're shipping, the weight of it, the size, dimensions, things of that nature. Then we send you off a shipper agreement. You sign that agreement, you run credit, make sure your credit's good, and then we start going from there.
Business credit or personal credit?
A business credit. I'm glad you said that. You do have to highlight that. So business credit. So we don't work with regular consumers. It has to be a business.
Okay. Okay. All right. Last question before we move on. So I like how you said you just drove a truck, because usually when you have your own company, I mean, for some people, what they do, they start out and they, work their way up, right? The chain, and then they have a business. And then they said, you know what? I've been using the driver hat for so long. Now I want to be the executive. So you're both. So do you feel that the driver hat keeps you motivated and driven while you're at the executive level, so you can have that balance?
No, what keeps me motivated and driven are my goals and my dreams.
Okay.
Driving the truck does humble me, and I enjoy it. And I don't believe that there should be a level that you get to where you all of a sudden say, I'm not doing this anymore. You have to be able to be humble and say, look, I'm going to pick up trash in the parking lot just like the person who's assigned to do that. Because if you want people to follow you, then you need to lead by example. So there's nothing wrong with driving the truck. There's nothing wrong with unloading the truck. There's nothing wrong with making calls. I mean, I do it all. It doesn't matter what it is.
Thank you so much for saying that. And thank you for being honest. And thank you for just showing that side of being a CEO, a founder of your own business. Thank you for that. Because sometimes we get into these, I don't want to say situations, but we get to the top. And I haven't been to the top yet, but from what I heard from other people, at the top is very lonely.
And the top is just a title. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. You give yourself a title, your owner, your founder, or whatever you want to call yourself, but you still have responsibilities. And I think once you start to get to the top, a lot of people, they forget about those responsibilities and start negating them. You have to be able to do everything. If you want your company to run smooth and you want everybody to feel happy and you want everyone to be successful, then you do the same things that they do. And then eventually you build those leaders and they start doing what you do and you can continue to move forward.
Yes, that's why you're special. You're a special breed. Thank
My
you.
mom says that all the time. I hope it's the right way.
All right, so I'm going to bring up your website. Give me one moment. Let me see. Eventually, I'll put it on solo, but I'm going to add it like this.
You can remove the drop down. You can remove the chat bot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone, this is Kenny's website. This is his company. Is it Ameriton Freight?
Ameriton Freight. So it's short for American
Ameriton Freight. Okay.
Yes.
AmeritonFreight.com. I do have a habit of messing up on words. I should have asked you that before. I'm sorry.
Everybody does it. I got Ameritron. I'm like, listen, we're not Transformers over here.
Well, not to say this, but just like I have on my shirt, Doe Beverage. So people see do, they don't see the line above the O because it's a long O. But that's what I learned when, I'm from Chicago. So we learned that. In Florida, in Texas, they never learned that. So it's Doe Beverage, but people say do, and it's okay because I'll correct them, but I don't get upset or whatever because I get it, so.
Right.
All right, so
I get it all the time.
No, go ahead.
I said I get that all the time, so I'm used to it as well.
So again, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the website, and I want to give you a compliment. I love seeing clean websites, even though you have this. Do you call it a video in the background, or what would you call it for this type of website? Is it still a content management system, CMS type of website?
Yeah, it's still a video.
Okay. All right. I like how the video is playing and it's not taking up so much bandwidth.
Yeah. You don't want it to slow down.
Because right. I've been on those websites where, oh my gosh, it's saying I feel like it's dial up, but okay. So that's good. That's very good. Okay. So we have home, about us, and services. So let me put this on solo. All right. So we're on home. So if we can kind of go over, so experiencing various modes of transportation. So if you can talk a little, just briefly about what's a full truckload, intermodal, and then less than a truckload for us.
Of course. So the full truckload is anything that has a 53-foot trailer, as you can see here. And what we do there is we find carriers that are usually for long hauls. So if you're trying to go from, let's say, Florida to another state, and you have a good amount of shipments, something over 15,000 pounds, you want to go ahead and put that in a full truckload. And usually that's because of the space and the weight. And with the intermodal, with the full truckload, you'll travel for 10 hours a day, you'll stop. And so let's say something that's over 500 miles, you can do that under one day. Anything over 500 miles will take 2 days and 3 days, depending on the hours that the drivers are able to operate. When it comes to intermodal, we also handle international shipments. We specialize in imports. So we have customers that come in, as you can see on the photo, they have containers, they come on the vessel. Once they get to the port, we go ahead and we take it off, connect it to a truck, and ship it to wherever they need it to go to, oftentimes warehouses. And less than truckload, if you got something smaller than 15,000 pounds or just a few pallets here and there, what you want to do there is we're going to find a select amount of carriers, 3, 4, 5, see who has the best rates with the best transit time, throw it up there and get it. And it may take 3-4 days because what they're doing is they're making multiple stops and there's multiple customers' products inside that truck. So that wouldn't be dedicated. That would be more like a shared space.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be exact, but can you give me what would be the cost of each one?
Yeah, easily. So let's say Florida, Georgia, it's going to cost you $800. We're talking about 40,000 pounds of product going to another state in one day. So we let's say we pick it up on Thursday morning, we'll get it there by Friday morning for you, and that'll cost you about $800. And typically, when you're leaving Florida, it's going to be cheaper than more expensive than if you're leaving, because when you come into Florida, it's a waterlogged state. You have to go back out through the same way. So a lot of carriers, they want more money because they know they're going to be stuck with freight that's coming back out for a lower price. For your intermodal, we're talking, let's say North Carolina to Florida, Orlando specifically, that's going to cost you about $2,600. And that's because the trucker is going inside the port, he's waiting 2-3 hours to pick up a container. The crane is going to load it on his chassis, which is also picked up separately. So it's just a lot more time involved in that. And that's going straight to the destination where it needs to go to. They unload that container, and that driver still has to go back and drop that container back off at the port. And so he's going through that same 3 to 4 hour process again. So you're paying for not just the mileage, but also the time.
So 6 to 8 hours, pretty much.
Yeah, for the driver itself. But what we're going to do is, let's say your import comes in on Monday, it may not clear the port till Tuesday, Wednesday. If we pick it up on Wednesday, we'll deliver it on Thursday, because it's going to take a little time inside the port. So we don't want to tell you what's going to happen the same day, because most likely it won't. Yeah. Less than truckload, that's tricky when it comes to pricing, because that all depends on your dimensions, your weight, the size. So if it's a bigger package or more volume, it's going to cost you a little bit more money. But let's just say, for reference again, from Florida to Georgia, you got one pallet, or let's say one big box, you can get that for $300 to $400. But it may take 2 days, even though it's one state over. Like I said, it's a little bit more it's more likely to have damage in it, because it's jumping from one truck to another truck, and possibly 2 to 3 trucks. So that's why you're going to pay a little bit more for that full truckload.
Okay. And I see that you have other services. If you can kind of briefly go over those for me right here on the left-hand side.
Yeah, so hot shot, you ever see a guy driving in a pickup truck, he has a trailer in the back, a small trailer, maybe he's hauling one car, that's your hot shot. Or a storage shed. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and they're commercial drivers. You can tell by that USDOT number. Overdimensional freight, that's something like your cranes, where you see construction companies with this flatbed, and they're hauling this huge crane, and it says wide load on it. Most likely, when you see wide load, that's overdimensional freight. Reefer, that's a refrigerated unit. That's for our food and beverage, most likely, or some plants have it. But what we're doing is we're having the temperature of that trailer running at all times. So it's either frozen or it's cold. So it could be like a refrigerator or like a freezer, depending. Dredge means the imports, like I said, coming from the ports, because we have food and beverage that comes from overseas. Well, it needs to stay cold. Truckload as well. You can go ahead and switch and put a reefer on that. And if you want to transport your product throughout the states, but you still need to keep it cold, you do your truckload. Flatbed, just as it says, it's just a flatbed. You can throw anything on top. Sometimes you see fencing, wires, poles, maybe a small storage shed that's not too high. Rail, when you need to go somewhere, a few states over, but you don't want to pay for a truck, you don't mind with the time, it may take a little longer, put it on the rail, put it right on the train, and it'll get there in a few days. Emergency drop, yeah, it's interesting. Emergency drop loads, again, that's if a company says, hey, we have a trucker, and then the trucker backs out, and they call us and say, hey, something just happened, well, we're able to get that load recovered as soon as possible. Partial or volume, that goes back to the less than truckload, or LTL. When you only have a few products or a few items, we go ahead and put it into a partial or a volume where we can give you a better discount because of size, but it's not enough to put in a full truckload. And then other customized services could be anything. We have all types of things that happen, right? We have an import coming in and they say, hey, I don't want the whole container to come to my shop. I only need a few pieces. Well, we'll hire labor to unload that trailer, put it into another trailer, and then ship it out that way. So we have one customer that has one container and we load it up into 3 different trucks, and those 3 trucks go to 3 different states.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Now I see that I see SmartWay Transport Partner. So what is that? Are you a partnership with them or they're a partner with you?
So we're a partner with them. What we do is we focus on sustainability. We want to make sure that the environment is safe and that over time with the emissions that these trucks use, that we're calculating and measuring our emissions to make sure that we're staying safe, and we have our own responsibility as a company to be sustainable, to help out the environment.
Nice. Okay. So I'm going to the About Us. Before I go to the About Us, give me a second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just, because it's trying to load, so I just wanted to make sure. So before I go to the About Us section on the page, do you see more electric trucks? Because I've been seeing some electric trucks, semi trucks, but I don't know if that's just what do you call it, like a prototype. They're trying to do something like that in the future, or they're actually EV semi rigs, like driving for real, like on the street.
Yeah, there's actually electric vehicles on the streets driving. It's not a prototype. You don't see a lot of it though, because they're very expensive, and that's usually your bigger corporations that have that. But for the most part, you still have your owner operators, which is operating between 1 and 5 trucks. They're not going to get electric vehicles no time soon.
Now, have you driven one before?
Actually, I have not. I don't see the need. Myself personally don't care. I don't even like driving automatic semi trucks, and that's a big thing now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm old school.
All right, so okay, no, I get it. So I see this young fine man right here. So we see that you're the founder. Where's the rest of the people on your team? Where your secretary? Where your executive assistant? Where the other people at?
I'm a one-man army. One-man army. Just do everything on my own. Even doing the website myself. So we've had employees over time, and a lot of employees don't work out because everybody doesn't have that same drive and that same passion. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm very hard. I'm hard to work with. I know it. And so I expect so much from myself, so I expect the same from my team. And there's times where that doesn't work out, and so people have to just get let go. And you know, when you let people go and you have to fire people, it may feel bad in the moment, but what you're really doing is you're helping them get to where they really need to be. And so I stopped feeling as bad as I used to, because they may flourish somewhere else, just not with me. It's the same for me working for other companies. If I don't fit and I get fired, it's okay, because I know I wasn't a fit for them, and I can go find what my true passion is.
So I know you mentioned that you're probably hard to work with. I don't know you personally. I know we talk briefly and we chit chat, but when you're in the business, it's totally different. But I think what it is, like you said, you have to have people on your team with the same vision, same mission, so it can be able to work out right. And I think for some people, you can't be their friend and be their employer. It doesn't work that way. I don't care how cool you are. I don't care if it's family. I don't care who it is. They have to be in and I don't want to say, like, how can I say this? They have to be another leader working alongside of you. You know, I don't think employees should just be submissive and just do everything you say just to make you happy. Because if something is not working and they're not in a good environment where they can communicate that to you, then that's when it's an issue. But if it's an open door policy to say, hey, you know what? I don't know if you had them to call you Kenny, but let's just say, Mr. Kenny, I feel that this driver that came in, he looked like he was under the influence. And I don't know if you should give that freight to him, even though they just, looking from the outside in, right? Because they were right there, right, with you, and you didn't see it. I'm just giving an example, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't think that you are difficult to work with. This is a business and it has to be treated as such, and you have to stay on top of it and find the right people to work out your vision and mission for the company. That's all I would say.
Of course. Yeah, you're right. And you gotta be self-motivated. And I say I'm hard to work with because most people that I tend to bring on the team, they weren't self-motivated. It may look like that in the beginning, but if you really want to get to another level, then you're gonna push people and help them drive themselves forward. And some people don't want to be driven. They just want to sit there and be comfortable, and that's fine. It just doesn't work for our company. And like you touched on, like if they see something, say something. 100%. I encourage people to give me feedback. If I'm doing something wrong, tell me. We do performance reviews monthly. When I do have a team, it's like, no, tell me what I'm doing wrong, what I need to fix, and you're also free to tell me something any single time. And it's just Kenny, because we're all here on the same team working together.
That's right. So before we move forward, I like how you have current versus future state. If you can let us know like a little bit about before working with you and then after working with you, how you came up with these statements.
Yeah. So before working with us, we deal with a lot of companies who have headaches in the transportation. Transportation is very difficult and it's very time consuming. So when people come to us and say, hey, I need help with my freight, it's because they're having issues. They're having headaches. They're having problems. They have companies falling off. Maybe their price is too high. Or I'll have instances where they may have a quote for $1,000 and then the second quote is for $3,000. And they don't understand what that means. How is it the same freight going to the same location, two different prices? So after working with us, we're able to establish a baseline first. So this is what it's going to be for the baseline. Of course, by markets, the market changes, so rates change. But there are times where we make sure that they don't have a headache, they're taken care of, and all the issues are straightened away, or we deal with the issues because we know what we're doing in that aspect. So that's just a overall overview of it.
Okay. Nice. I love the colors too.
Thank you. Services
All right.
is what we clicked on
we
before.
already went through services. Yeah. Okay.
And then I have other podcasts. If you go to media, so the podcasts I've been on over my career.
What you can see, truck. I like that.
So as you can see, like on my media page, my whole situation was I went to prison back in 2017, and that's what led me on this journey to grow and to start a business. I felt like at that time, before I got sentenced to prison, I was all lost and I didn't know what I was doing. Just living day for day. And after sitting down in that cell for 2.5 years, I really got focused. I built a company, and I made sure that when I got out, I built a future for myself and my family.
Okay. And then, so when they go to your website, they can go ahead and click, watch now, and they can watch it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I know that wasn't easy to share that. And sometimes, look, thank you for sharing that because I didn't know. And it doesn't change anything. But what you did was you changed your whole outlook. You're not a victim. you know, like you said, it happened 2017. You were there for 2.5 years, and you came out like, no, I'm going to do something for myself, because usually there's no second chances sometimes with just going out and getting a regular job, unless a business have like some type of credits or something with the government to
Right.
do like
Yeah.
whatever type of programs that they have. But 9 times out of 10, if you go up to Chick-fil-A right now and you put on your application that you're a felon or you've been in prison or whatever, okay, thank you, and then keep on moving, they're gonna toss it in the trash.
Yeah. I applied for a gym as a personal trainer and got denied. I got hired, and then when they did the background checks, oh, we can't have you work with us. And I did it just to see like how hard it is, but I already had my business. But that's even at a gym, it's hard. So, you know, these people come out and trying to do better in life, and they go back into the same lifestyle because they know that's what's comfortable, and that the streets or that behavior is what's accepted in their community or around in their circle. And that's really hard. But I'm like you said, second chance, I believe it's the first chance. Because people that go to prison and get out, they really see what the world is. They see what freedom is. People who hasn't been to prison don't know what freedom really is. They don't understand that going to your fridge to get some food out is a privilege. You know, until you don't have that
You better
fridge.
tell them. You better tell them.
And it's those things that matter. So this is a first chance for me, and this is my first chance to prove myself to be who I want to be that resilient person and overcome any difficulties that I have, and help other people understand and see that the difficulties they have is something that they can overcome and achieve even greater.
Now, I want to mention your personality. When I saw you that day running around with the mic in your hand and you trying to get everything situated, I was like, oh yeah, I got to make sure I talk to him. But then when I start talking with you, it's just like what you just shared. You would never known that part of your life happened. You know what I mean? Because you don't wear it. You don't broadcast it every time you see someone. Oh yeah, I went to prison, or oh, I try to tell people, yes, that was your past. You don't have to keep saying that. Let's talk about the future and move forward. Yes, everyone has a skeleton. I've never been. I hope I never go. I use the bathroom too much. But no,
Well,
it's like
that's what stops you, then that's good.
like, but no. So yeah, I hope that whoever is watching this interview right now may be in a situation where either A, they've been to prison or jail, or they're currently in prison or jail, and now they can say, you know what, I'm going to turn my life around. This interview helped me. This person did it. I can do it. I can change my life around. You know I probably can't have like a Fortune 500, Fortune 100 company like Kenneth, but you know what? I want to go ahead and start my own food truck. I want to go ahead and start my own logistics company. I want to go ahead and start my own painting company. And you get it. But it's just thank you for being an inspiration, and I hope people will comment and leave questions for you. Not to say like, hey, how did you get started? But you know what? Hey, brother, you've been a good inspiration for me. I was lost right now, and I saw this interview and I was like, let me check this out. And for you to tell your story and be confident, because that happened then. But look where you are now. Look where you are now. So
someone told me, don't be pushed by your past. You gotta be pulled by your future. And I live by that.
And I always say that. So, wow. So it's been 34 minutes. What advice would you give someone starting a company when they only have like less than $100 in their pocket, but they have like a vision and some goals? What would you say to that person?
to go start a business. Point blank. Don't worry about money because money hinders our thoughts, it hinders our creativity and our imagination. And if I can start a business in prison, essentially with business plans and limited resources, then coming out here with $100 that's a lot of money. I had no money. I was getting money from family members. My sister sending me money, a girlfriend sending me money, and the state's feeding me. So there's no excuse. Just go out there, go get it, and don't let a setback be a reason that you sit down.
Okay. Are you currently hiring? I need a part-time job.
Not right now because we converted over from a freight brokerage to a consultant. So we're building up that framework right now and working on getting our consultant space. Finding our place in the consulting field, even though we have the freight industry experience already.
Okay. Now, have you ever considered being like a franchise in the future?
No.
Maybe?
Well,
okay.
I've thought about it, but no. I like the control part of it. I don't want the experiences that people would have with the company based off of somebody else because they had some money to get into it.
Okay. And then would you be a public company? Because you're private, correct?
Private right now.
Okay. Would you ever want to have like shareholders? And I know you like the control, but have you ever thought about, wow, this would be nice to have a public company, but I need to have at least 70% of the control?
Yeah, 70 sounds low. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, definitely. No, I definitely want to go public because the total dream is to own ocean vessels. So I want to be that black male felon owning ocean vessels that's transporting product throughout the world.
That's what I'm talking about. So, speaking of, so like with the import exports, did you have any issues with freight going out to other countries? I'm trying not to name the countries, but
yeah. No issues. There's always a way to get around get around issues and create new opportunities. We've had a lot of issues in the last 3 or 4 years with freight and on the ocean with our Red Sea diversions and all the wars, the Iranian war. So there are going to be issues that pop up. You just make sure that you have a plan in place. And that's something we do too as a consultant now. We do scenario planning. So let's just say if we sat down with you in your personal life and you go to work every day and something happens to your car, let's say your battery doesn't work, do you have a plan? Probably not. So we're going to sit down and say, okay, let's get a plan that if that battery dies, what are the steps you're going to take? First, are you going to call somebody? Are you going to Uber? Are you going to call out? And that's what scenario planning is. So no matter what issue you go through, if you have plans in place, they may not be identical, but you find ways to mitigate that risk.
Okay.
You're learning all about logistics right now, huh?
Hey, I'm writing. I'm taking my notes. So I want to bring this up before we close out. Now, Kenny, he was, let's just say he was directing the raffle that was at the Women's Expo. And I put my name in 2 raffles and I didn't win, but I eventually won a trip through actually Tuesday. She pulled some names. Her husband pulled the name at home and it was my name. So I won that Daytona trip at home. The second one. Yeah. Thank you. So I noticed I wasn't winning. I didn't win the first one, the first raffle that I put my name in, and I didn't win the second one. So it just seemed like they were just taking from the top. So I kept saying, shake that cup, shake that cup, shake that cup, because I'm like, somebody gonna pull my name. So that's an inside joke. I wanted to bring that up because Kenny starts saying it. He starts saying, shake that cup. So I think in the future,
that too, a lot of the polling was from the top. Like we gotta get this thing rolling.
Yes. So I think in the future, if you don't mind, that would be like a reference that I would say that to you. Like, you know how some people say certain things to each other? That's how I know you. So if somebody kidnapped me in the future, and then they'll be like, did she say anything regarding something about a cup? If they say no, that's not Mico. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to reference. Like, nah, you got the wrong person.
So you don't have plans to go to prison, but you may get kidnapped. I don't know now.
No, you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm joking, but I'm saying, like,
you go to the bathroom too much.
I should have. Well, what I should have said was, if you wanted to find out who knows me and I know you to play that game, if I don't reference anything about shake that cup, then you know it's not me. I should have said that. I apologize.
I got it. I understand. No, I get it both ways. You get kidnapped. And they say,
we want $50,000. And it's like, you sure you have Mico? Well, ask her this. You know, and if you don't say anything about shake that cup or raffle related or whatever, then you got the wrong Mico.
I remember that. That's logged in the back of my brain now. So if I hear shake that cup, I know.
I shouldn't have said that. Everybody know now.
Yeah, you messed up big time.
Right, I messed up, man. All right, but so Kenny, I wanted to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for taking your time taking this time to give me this interview, to share your story, to talk about your business, to go over goals and dreams and inspirations. I hope that even if this interview touched one person, that was the goal for me. So please, if you're watching this interview right now and you have not pressed the like button, please smash it. Press that like button. We need to get this interview out to a lot of people so YouTube can recommend this interview. Leave him some comments, leave him some comments and questions. Maybe you're going through the same thing and you don't know how to get out your situation. You want to become a business owner. And it's not just a title. Like, it's a lot of work. I mean, I've been a business owner for 3 years. It's a lot of work. And mine was a one person show too. It's a lot of work. So please, he's going to go ahead and say where you can find him on social media, and to say his website again so you guys can reach out to him, and then we'll end the interview there.
Okay. So of course you got to go to the website that we just reviewed earlier, AmeritonFreight.com. You can also get me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. It's all Ameriton Freight. And if you want to catch me with my shirt off, sometimes working out or saying something inspirational, then my Kenneth Carter III is my Instagram, my personal side. So you know what? Follow both of them. You're going to get that business side of it, but you're also going to get that motivating shirt off, jumping into a cold plunge side as well. And like Mico said, we've all go through things. We've all been there. But if this has touched one person, or if you know somebody who it can touch, reach out, share the video, do what you can. Because just sharing that video can change somebody's life. Because I had to watch a video, and that one video I watched changed my life.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you. Like I said, smash that like button, leave a comment, leave a question. He'll reply back to you, and I'll try my best to reply back to you as well.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you in the next interview.